Now, I've been playing quite a lot of this game. This is Final Fantasy XIV A Realm Reborn, which is one of the few MMOs available on PlayStation 3. I played a lot of DC Universe before this, which I really enjoyed. I thought they did a really good job of adapting sort of traditional MMO mechanics for a controller and for a console audience. And this, even though it's much more traditional, much more kind of familiar MMO mechanics, more similar to sort of World of Warcraft or something, they've still done a great job of converting it to a controller. You've got the hotbar down the bottom, so you've got your two shoulder buttons, which activate those based on D-pad and face buttons. So you've got like 16 abilities always on the fly. You can cycle between those as well. So you'd never really miss the whole mouse keyboard thing, to the point where I've heard a lot of people playing on PC are actually using controllers as well.
How have they made it not rubbish now? Because obviously Final Fantasy XIV originally was famously rubbish.
Yeah, I never played the original. I'm aware that it got a bit of a beating when it came out because
Just a bit.
Because it wasn't very good. But it just seems like everything's been tightened up. Like the whole class system now is brilliant. It works more like almost like a Monster Hunter type thing. So you pick your weapon and that's your class is based on the weapon you're using almost.
Yeah.
So if I want to play warrior, I'll switch to an axe, and then you've got skill trees and leveling based on that class, and then skills from that class can be used in others. If I want to switch to a carpenter or something, one of the creative classes, you just switch to a lathe, and instantly just changing your main equipped item changes your class on the fly.
That's what I liked about Final Fantasy XI, is that given enough time, you could theoretically max out everything.
That's it. I mean, you don't need
skill.
to create ults or anything. You can theoretically do everything on one character, and the base stats on the starting classes are so close together that you can have pretty much any race doing any job. So
yeah, I'm glad that's back. That's a nice feature. I think more games should have that rather than very rigid kind of class dichotomy.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing worse than playing a game for like 100 hours only to find out when you max out that character that they're rubbish or you hate the way they play.
Yeah, well, as someone who put a good few years of his life into World of Warcraft, that tends to happen because thanks to regular patches, your class will be the worst class in the game at some point.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's just not a thing that's going to happen.
Apparently right now that's what's happened to me, because I went warrior, which I originally did in the beta because it basically sounded like a pirate with a big axe. And then got into the game and it told me that I was a tank, which I didn't really want to do because I don't enjoy tanking. But then the more I played a bit, the more I actually came to really like tanking in this game. There's a lot of thinking in it, like a lot more than usual. It's not just sitting there being a damage sponge. It's a lot more kind of hands-on. You've got to really know what you're doing, almost run things on the harder dungeons, like targeting certain enemies, letting the team know which ones to highlight, pulling aggro, making sure that the squishy members of the team aren't getting absolutely battered.
Now, obviously, there's a subscription for this.
Yeah.
Which is how much a month? $7.99,
$7.99, I think.
Yeah. Is it worth it?
I think so. At least for a couple of months. So you get a month free with the game, which is easily enough time to kind of see if you like it, get a feel for it, and in my case, get massively, horribly addicted. I've just dropped for a 3-month subscription, which will tie me up for the rest of the year easily. Level 41 at the moment, so I'll easily get to 50 in that time with at
Is
least
that the max?
50 is the cap right now, yeah. But even once you hit 50, you've got loads of like relic quests to get you special weapons and armor, and loads of the sort of post-gamey sort of raids and stuff. Which
MMOs kind of live and die on their end game, really.
That's it. And from what I understand, like the end games are pretty strong right now. Like there's near impossible raid dungeons that everyone needs to be like proper tooled up for and proper knowledgeable about, and people are still struggling with some of the level 50 fates, which are like the instance events that spawn in the world. So you get towards the end, like the level 50 ones, there are a lot of primal ones that turn up. So you get like Odin, there's going to be the lightning Final Fantasy 13 one, and those kind of spawn once every few days, but then they go on for like half an hour or something. It's super tough, but with obviously super awesome rewards. But yeah, really, really good little game.